Welcome to lesson 83, and today is all about volume. And I don't mean volume as in how loud or quiet we are. I mean volume meaning space, and we're going to find the volume or the amount of space in cubes and rectangular prisms. So as I model today, watch how I can calculate the volume of any rectangular prism by multiplying its dimensions. Or watch how I can calculate the volume of any prism using these formulas: length times width times height, or the area of the base times the height. How many cubic units make up our rectangular prism and our cube? I want to think of volume as, if I was looking at this, how much space is being used up, and each space is going to be a little bit of these cubes. Each of these cubes represents 1 cubic unit of space. So watch how I can think about all these cubes and use the dimensions to figure out how many cubes in all. Notice I can't see the cubes behind or inside of this figure, but I can see in the outside the length, which has 6 cubes, the width, which has 2, and the height, which has 5. Using that, I can figure out how many cubes are just on the base. So let's start with our base. And I can see our base has 2 rows of 6 cubes. And I can see them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubes. This is all 6 cubes. And 2 rows. So I know my base has 12 cubes. Using this, I can figure out how many cubes are in this entire figure. If I have 12 cubes here, and I have 12 cubes in each row, I could keep adding 12 plus 12 plus 12, or I can just realize I can use the height. The height tells me how many rows I have. I have 5 rows of 12. And so for volume, I can just figure out my base and multiply it times my height. So 12 rows of 5 is 60 cubic units. Now another way I can look at this is just say my volume is my length times my width times my height. It's still going to give me the same 60. 6 times 2 times 5 is still 60 cubic units. So here's our first formula. I'm going to just box it. We can either use base height or length times width times height. Now let's look at our little cube. And our cube is going to have the same dimensions all the way around. And so that means my volume, if I was doing length times width times height, I'm going to have the same number repeatedly multiplied, 3 times 3 times 3. So I can express that as 3 to the 3rd power. So I could use length times width times height, or I can use the equation volume is equal to side cubed. Again, because all my sides have the same measurements. And so for this one, 3 times 3 times 3, my volume would be 27 cubic units. Hit pause and jot this down into your notes. Cynthia got a new fish tank that she wants to fill with water to get ready for her fish. The tank has the following measurements. So we can see our height is 3, our length is 4, our width is 2. What is the volume of our fish tank? This is about the space, so it's still space in cubic units even though I'm filling it with water. So I'm going to put in both formulas so we can get used to it. So volume is equal to length times width times height, and volume is equal to base height. So our length is 4, our width is 2, and our height is 3. 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 3 is 24. So 24 feet to the third power. Let's say we were doing our second formula, base height. All I would do is I figure out the base. So 8 times 3, and volume is still 24 feet to the third power. So hit pause, Math Marble, and put this into your notes. And now you can clearly see you can use either formula for figuring out the volume of a rectangular prism. I will see you in the next lesson. Be well.